everybody. I want to introduce you to a new segment we're calling Political Retrograde. The host for this is going to be Elizabeth Greer. So, this is a new thing she's doing. She's doing all the research. We wanted to tie politics with true crime so that we could both work with something we're passionate about.
Yeah, for all of those listeners like me who care less about the politics and more about the true crime, this one's for you.
Yep. All right. So, what are you presenting for our first episode?
Yeah, so for our first episode, I thought that we would keep it a little more current. The biggest and most recent crime was the shootings of the Minnesota lawmakers, the state representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, and tragically their golden retriever, as well as Senator John Hoffman and his wife, who were wounded. So I guess we'll just get into it.
Yeah. Tell us what happened.
All right. So, start some background. So, the shooter's name was Vance Bolter. He was 57 and he's from Green Isle, Minnesota. He's married, father of 5. I found that he was of the Christian faith, but also very intolerant of the LGBTQA plus committee. For a while, he was enrolled at Christ for the Nations Institute in Dallas. That was from 1988 until 1990, when he graduated with a diploma in practical theology and leadership and pastoral. But according to a statement from the school, that they haven't had any contact with him since. What he went to school for, it offers programs and certificates to students interested in evangelical ministry and missionary work. The institute is not accredited, and it is rooted in Pentecostal tradition and seeks mostly from the Holy Spirit and the study of the Bible. As far as what he did for a living, there's a lot of different things. There was some talk about him running a security company. He has a decades-long history of working in the food industry. Apparently, he quit the food industry to work on agricultural projects in Central Africa.
Okay.
He's kind of an oddball. He then has history of a 7-Eleven manager and a airport gas station manager.
That's
Right,
a
for
wide
Minnesota.
variety of careers.
Yeah, and then also he listed on some resume at some point that in 2017 he was an executive at an energy company. I know, all over the map.
Okay.
But the most recent one is that he worked for funeral homes on the side, and his job was removing dead bodies from, wherever, like funeral or nursing homes, things like that. He would do whatever he had to quote, pay the bills. So aside from that, we know that he and his wife were avid doomsday preppers and that he had left instructions for what he called a bailout plan. And that involved traveling to his mother-in-law's home in Springbrook, Wisconsin. And this was in the event of exigent circumstances. So more about him. Here in Iowa, we register or typically declare a party when we vote. A lot of people were saying that he was a Democrat. Well, in Minnesota, voters don't declare affiliation with register. So in 2016, there was a report that on his work board that he was none for political party. In 2020, he listed no party preference. However, one of his close friends and roommate he was renting a small room from came out and said that, yes, he was a Trump supporter and was specifically anti-abortion, and that was the thing he was most passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
On June 13th, he prepaid his friend 4 months of rent, which was pretty cheap because he was just renting one room. It's about $220 a month.
And why was he renting a room if he had a wife and kids?
I'm not sure. I think
Or were they located somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know because they
Okay.
talked about his wife and kids, but then he was also with this guy all the time that spoke out after the events. So I don't know. I couldn't find a lot about why he wasn't living with his wife, but there's also every day there's more coming out. So I'm kind of interested to see if any of that comes to light.
Yeah.
So the morning of, he sent a text to some of his friends that just said, "Be dead shortly." They were like, "Hey, what? What do you mean, be dead shortly?" He's like, "I began to plan. I don't want to say anymore and implicate you in any way. You guys don't know anything about this, but I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused." So it was incredibly premeditated. So Bolter disguises himself as law enforcement, and the first place he went is the home of Senator Hoffman. This was very early in the morning, around 2 to 3 a.m. Bolter knocked on the door. He announced himself as the officer. Hoffman's adult daughter was home. Her name is Hope. She opened the door to answer it, and the senator noticed immediately that he had a gun and he started firing. The senator charged him. He was shot 9 times, and his wife was shot 8 times trying to shut the door. When they answered the door, he was in a face mask, but he had all the police gear on.
Yeah.
So the dog was also unfortunately shot in this incident.
Is Hope
And
okay?
yeah, Hope was uninjured. Yeah, she was able to call 911, but then Bolter left.
Okay.
He traveled to homes of 2 other elected officials, the first one being Ann Rest, which came out later, but he was out there. He was staked out in front of her house, and he wasn't getting an answer. He was knocking, but she wasn't there. She came out later and said she was on vacation. So John Hoffman and his wife both survived the shooting at 2:24 a.m. The city that he then went to was Maple Grove. That was at 2:36 a.m. New Hope, a neighboring town, was also the home of a state lawmaker, and they dispatched an officer to watch the previously mentioned lawmaker's home. So they sent someone to stake out the house because they knew that if they shot Hoffman, they were probably going to get his partner.
Gotcha.
There, a police officer saw Bolter's vehicle, but she had mistakenly identified it for a police vehicle. So she drove up thinking someone else had been dispatched and the situation was under control. She approached the vehicle in her car, rolled down the window, tried to talk to him, but he never made eye contact, just kept staring straight. So no one ever ended up surveilling the situation. The officer proceeded down the road to the senator's home to keep watch. At this time, Bolter quietly left the scene, not exactly sure where. Then Bolter went to Brooklyn Park. A lot like New Hope, it was a neighboring town, home to another lawmaker, State Representative Melissa Hortman. The Brooklyn Police Department dispatched 2 officers to the home of Melissa Hortman. Upon arrival, the officers observed Bolter's vehicle in the driveway and Bolter himself a few feet from the door. When Bolter noticed the officers, he reportedly opened fire, burst into the home of the representatives, shot and killed both Melissa Hortman and her husband, and burst out of the back of the house, fleeing on foot. So from here, divulged into a 2-day manhunt. It's not really clear what he was doing for these 2 days. He was ultimately arrested without incident near his farm in Green Isle, Minnesota.
See, I saw conflicting reports saying that he had like a shootout with police at the Holtmans and they caught him from there. And that's what was so confusing to me about this was that it seemed like the initial reports weren't.
Yeah, no, they were not accurate. I
Okay.
think they were maybe like worried that it was, I think they were worried because he was that large and he had just murdered 2 people and tried to kill 2 more people.
Yeah.
When they did catch him and they found his car, they found 4 AK-47s, 2 of them being illegally modified. They also found a text he sent to his wife after the incident, and all it said was, "Prepare for war." I tried to look into why.
Yeah.
What were the motives? There's really not a lot. There's nothing definitive. I mean, he is still alive to this day. They just buried the 2 that unfortunately did not survive, and the other ones are recovering. They've been discharged. They're in rehab. They're hoping to make a full recovery. So, like I said, motives. We don't really know. We know that he served on a state economic board with State Senator John Hoffman. He was one of the victims. However, there's no record that they knew each other. Bolter was also appointed to the panel, the Minnesota Governor's Workforce Development Board in 2016 by a Democratic former governor, Mark Dayton. Just to put into perspective, the board has 41 members appointed by the governor, and its members try to improve business development in the state. He was later reappointed by Governor Tim Walz, who was also a Democrat. Mr. Bolter and Mr. Hoffman attended a virtual meeting together in 2022 for a discussion about the job market and the aftermath of the COVID pandemic. Minutes from the meeting show officials said that they did not know if they had any kind of relationship. Members would report that it would be easy to not know each other.
Okay.
With 41 members on the board, it could be
Yeah.
easy to never really cross paths. And it's also clear that Bolter recently reported extreme financial challenges as well as mental health challenges. So part of me maybe thinks that has something to do with why he was renting 1 room
Mhm.
from some guy. He was also found to have a hit list of 45 people, all of them being Democrats. It's hard to say. It sounds from all the research, it's looking like the most likely scenario is that this was all for anti-abortion,
Yeah.
in addition to him just kind of being crazy and not being able to handle it. So this guy got really, really into Alex Jones. Alex Jones, if you don't know, he's a conspiracy theorist. He hosts the Alex Jones show. He has the longest running online news and political talk show, but he also is the founder of InfoWars and banned video websites that promote conspiracy theories and fake news. So there's a lot of accusations that Vance Bolter, the shooter, got pretty much obsessed with Alex Jones and became
Mhm.
indoctrinated into his beliefs, which also are anti-abortion and pretty serious conspiracy theories and
Yeah.
some pretty dark stuff. And from there, he kind of just went off the deep end and committed these murders. I know that he had his first appearance in front of the judge, and the only thing he said was that he's looking forward to the truth of what happened that day to come out. So I don't
What's
know.
the truth according to him, I guess.
Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about one of my sponsors real quick. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout.
So, do you think he worked with or for politicians just because it just happened to be Democrats that were in charge? Like, it has nothing to do with the actual people he worked with. He was just trying to get into politics?
I definitely think he was interested in politics, but he was just fine working alongside Democrats. Every time he was voted onto a board or some form of politics, it was by a Democrat. But I don't know, he lost it. I mean, he really supported Alex Jones, and now that with the whole thing, all the things coming out about Alex Jones saying Sandy Hook didn't happen,
Oh, yeah.
and that, something else happened to all of those kids and, like, is a cute like, now Alex Jones's followers are, like, coming after the parents of the Sandy Hook victims saying, "What actually happened to your kid? What'd you do to your kid? Where's your kid?"
Yeah.
And to me, that is one of the most egregious things you can
Yeah,
do.
that's so sometimes Alex Jones actually seems to be correct in some of his conspiracy theories, like he
Yes,
predicted nine
some
11.
some of them do
But
have standing, I will say that,
but that Sandy Hook thing is wild.
especially with everything that just happened in Texas,
Yes.
like, it's gross.
Do you think Bolter was in a better mental space when he worked with politicians and then just kind of spiraled after?
Maybe in the beginning, or maybe this is the politicians worked with. I mean, the
Yeah.
politicians, like, in being in that world drove him to
Yeah.
his he clearly had a fragile mental health to begin with,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't know. He has been charged federally with stalking and murdering the Minnesota House Representative Speaker, Melissa Hortman and her husband, and stalking and shooting Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife.
I can't believe they survived after being shot
That's
98
crazy.
times.
I know, I know. The wife was shot through the door as she was trying to shut it, so hopefully that helped. It's amazing to me that the daughter never got shot.
Yeah, and somehow the dog did.
I know, and I like to think that maybe the dog tried to protect
Right, and kinda
them,
got in the way or
and yeah, and that's
it's
why
heartbreaking.
it is. Yeah, there's no I mean, there hasn't been a clear motive. We
Yeah.
don't know for sure why he did it. I will be interested to see what he says in court.
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he have wasn't there confusion about the manifesto because he had writings but it wasn't a manifesto. It was just
Yeah.
random scribblings of
He
stuff
had
all over the place.
From what I found, he had at least more than one journal of just, like, proof that he was stalking the victims that he eventually shot, like, their days, their routines, where they like to eat, when they went to work, things like that, but there's not been, like, a true manifesto come out of why he was doing it, but the journals were basically just his plan and
Okay.
his studies, I
Keeping
guess.
track of himself
Yeah,
in a
it was
way.
research
Okay.
on his
Yeah.
victims.
Okay.
This was days, if not weeks or months premeditated.
Okay. So, what about his wife and kids? Like, I know his wife was, right, included in the end of the world planning. Does she know anything about his plans to do this? Do you know?
I don't know. I know that, when he was seen in court, he told the judge he hadn't slept in 12 to 14 days, which I mean, he says that his lights have been kept on in his cell around the clock and he doesn't have a pillow. He said there's loud noises constantly around him. He's also done a really good job of painting himself as the victim. Cameras from his cell show on multiple occasions him resting peacefully.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, you kill people and you go to prison.
right,
I'm sorry,
yeah. No,
you're not
and
on vacation,
the
bud.
sheriff office has come out and said he's being treated like every other inmate, and that it's too late now to complain about the conditions in which he put himself in. So, yeah,
How old were the kids? Are the kids?
I don't know. I mean, I can look that up.
It's not that important. I was just wondering,
I know, it's
like,
weird.
they
5
should
five
probably be in a
kids.
different home.
Yeah, 5 kids.
I had no I knew he well, I did recently learn he was married, and that surprised me, and then I don't think I knew until you just told me today that he
Mhm.
had kids, 5 of them. Wild.
Yeah, Bolter also said to the judge, "I think Minnesotans want to know what's going on." So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if they think maybe some other people were involved.
So, it is wild that and this is a conspiracy that has been mentioned, it is wild that Walls had that employee that was guilty of the Tesla vandalism, and now this guy. But as you explained it, he was actually hired by the previous governor, and really, did he even meet Walls? You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
there's probably nothing there, just a coincidence.
It's like he has ties to politicians, but, like,
Yeah.
not in real ways.
Right. Easily. I mean, anyone can go to an event and shake hands with somebody and talk to them. That doesn't mean that they're really doing a lot of work or involved in the day-to-day process of it.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, he was doing very well because he and his wife owned a 3,800 square foot house in just about an hour from downtown Minneapolis.
Mhm.
They bought it in 2023 for more than $500,000. John Hoffman and Yvette Hoffman were the 2 that didn't survive, but I mean, that's only 5 people on his list of
Yeah,
41 that he
right.
got. It doesn't sound like he was ever a threat to the public, but he did take some weird trips to Africa, like in 2022 and 2023,
Yeah.
where he raved about, anti-abortion and anti-gay and had signs like "No
Uh-huh.
kings" and things like that.
Oh, that's right. I did hear that he had the No Kings flag. I just think this guy's just whacked out. He
Yeah,
just
no,
lost it. There's
something
no
happened.
because yeah, he's a Trump supporter, but he worked for Democrats. He's anti-abortion, but he had No Kings flyers. It just unfortunately sounds like untreated mental illness.
And everyone that knew him prior to this was shocked that he had committed the crimes. One of his
Yeah.
friends came out and said, "I would have been as shocked as if they said that he had gotten hit by lightning."
Wow.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think his mental health. So he is a married father of 5, but often stayed at his friend's house in Minneapolis to shorten his commute to work. That's why he was
Makes
paying $220 a month. His friend was Carlson, and he came out and said that in hindsight, he thinks he was a very sick man and needed help, even if those around him didn't realize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he hid it well, and that would make sense if the guy that he was renting a room from, he probably saw him on a more regular basis than anyone else.
Yeah, I know that, he had been struggling to find work in February. He had been or he had quit his job from with the funeral home,
Mhm.
that his job was, like, to be on call and come remove bodies. So he had been really struggling financially, but to me, that doesn't make sense because he has a $500,000 house.
Yeah, that's strange. I'm sure that job escorting the bodies from nursing homes was not good for his mental health either, if you're already in a sensitive state.
Yeah. He wanted to go to Africa, into, like, the Congo, and be a missionary there about Jesus.
Okay.
He had apparently done this a few times in the past. One time in the 90s, he was caught by security forces after sneaking into Gaza to
Mhm.
preach Christianity on a trip to Israel.
Oh.
Yeah. So he had no business being there, and he tried to sneak in to preach Christianity.
Wow.
Yeah, so then, when he became a Christian, he burnt all of his belongings. He had a lot of karate and martial arts weapons, and he got rid of anything that distracted him from religion. So he was very involved with the church.
Yeah. Has the church come out and said anything?
And hasn't responded to the church that he went to in Minneapolis hasn't responded to
Oh, yeah,
um,
you said
any
that.
emails, but they did issue just like a blanket statement saying that the shootings are the opposite of what Jesus taught his followers to do.
When did you say the trial date was?
They haven't set one yet. This man was just living a normal life.
That's so weird. I'm gonna guess there's gonna be MK Ultra theories flying around.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was.
I mean, it is weird that something like that just happens, but if you look at his past actions and his job instability, usually if somebody can't hold down a job, that's an indicator that something's going on.
Right. And like like right before on Saturday when these events happened, he texted the guy he was renting the room from, Carlson, and he just warned him. He said, "Gonna be gone for a while and may be dead shortly," as I said earlier. So the friend got worried and thought he was suicidal and was gonna try to commit suicide, really to the point that he called the police.
Okay.
And the police allegedly at first didn't seem too interested until they connected the messages to the shootings. Yeah, I don't know.
That
The
sucks. Like he
friend,
tried.
yeah, the friend that came out too says, like he had everything. I don't know why he did this, but whatever financial
Yeah.
issues he was having, maybe everyone else was unaware. Allegedly, the wife and her children are shocked by her husband's alleged involvement in a recent attack on the Minnesota lawmakers. So she's claiming not to know anything, but
Yeah.
she was a doomsday prepper too. So like part of me is like, what did
Yeah.
you know? I don't know.
Something.
I can't imagine a world in where I don't know a whole other side of my husband's life.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
guess
don't know.
that's what him staying elsewhere for work, he had the opportunity to do that because there's
So
Kyle, even though we work different shifts, like there's like I know what he's
like, yeah,
doing.
like you'd know if he was planning a mass murder.
Yeah.
Um, so okay. So I did find something about his wife other than her claiming to be shocked and that she had no idea about any of this. She says that the violence doesn't align with their family's beliefs or Christian faith, obviously, and that her and her kids met with the police at a gas station a few hours after the killings. They searched her vehicle and they found a safe, the whole family's passports, $10,000 in cash, along with 2 guns.
So
But she hasn't been charged with anything.
I mean, obviously she knew something was happening, but maybe not
Well, I don't know. In
that.
my family car, I guess I don't just have a safe with my entire family's passports and
Exactly.
$10,000.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what did she think was happening? If there's nothing on the news to indicate that you need to leave the area for, I don't know, a natural disaster in Minnesota, why do you have all that in your vehicle?
I don't
Just because your
I
husband told you to?
yeah.
And you have no questions about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, honey.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So he has five kids, 4 daughters, a son, and they're homeschooled, which also seems to be a trend. I
Yeah.
hate to say that, but I think when you homeschool children, it reminds me of, like, other countries where they don't have any access other than to what they're
Yeah.
given.
Right.
So, I mean, the kids, like, aren't they're not adults by any means. I think maybe a couple of them, but
Hopefully they have, some stable family willing to take them in.
whew, man, I hope so.
That's
Yeah.
taking on 5 kids is a lot. I feel
Yeah.
really bad for them.
The wife's version of events are she got a call from the police that morning. She drove to meet the agents at a nearby gas station. She didn't get pulled over. She parked and waited for the agents to arrive, voluntarily agreed to answer questions, provide all items requested, and cooperate with all searches.
She didn't really do anything wrong
Mm.
unless she knew that was his plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she suspected something was up,
Yeah.
but
And
she
there,
might not have known that was his plan.
I agree. And there's a world, there's a situation where maybe he put all the things in the car
Yeah,
somewhere. Like, it didn't say
yeah,
where in the car they were found, but they could have been hidden, like, in with the spare tire or under some
yeah.
seats or something.
Or maybe she's just like, "My husband's, like, losing it, and I'm just whatever. He tells me the end of the world's coming. I'm gonna just do this, so it makes him feel better that we're
Mhm.
prepared, and"
Yeah, her
you
statement
know
was, "We are appalled and horrified by what occurred, and our hearts are incredibly heavy for the victims of this unfathomable tragedy." Now, I understand that she didn't do anything wrong technically,
Yeah,
but I have a hard time just believing that she was completely that she had no culpability in the matter, you
right.
know? Like, when the Gilgo Beach murders came out recently, when
Yeah,
they found out who did it, the wife, like, kind of alluded to, like, you can be in denial, like, you can put yourself in denial, like, women do it
yeah,
when their husbands have affairs or
yeah.
vice versa, where you just pretend everything's fine.
So because he had firearms, but he could have
Yes.
had those in that room with the roommate,
Mhm.
but wouldn't someone have seen, like, "Okay, this guy's clearly breaking mentally, like, maybe he needs to be
Yeah.
hospitalized." I do understand how having 2 homes would make things easier to cover up severe mental illness. However, that also implies that he knew what he was doing is something he shouldn't have been doing if he was hiding it.
Mhm.
So, also, wouldn't you just know your husband's having a mental break?
I don't know. The wife, her name's Jenny, she said she was sorry that she doesn't know this person that did it, like, saying she doesn't know
Yeah.
how her husband could do it, and then she actually thanked law enforcement for catching him and
Wow.
protecting others from future harm. Vance Bolter, he did when he texted the group, he just said, "Dad went to war last night," and then said the thing about not wanting to implicate anybody. He texted his wife separately and said, "Words are not gonna explain how sorry I am for this situation. There's gonna be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy, and I don't want you guys around." Then, I mean, they found the stuff for doomsday preppers, they had
Mhm.
a bailout plan, but that was supposedly only in the event of the end of the world, not for him to do this.
Right. Which there are a lot of people that do prepare for stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like, especially
yeah,
since, like,
COVID.
well, Y2K, I
Yeah,
know people who started prepping for Y2K and then just never stopped because 'cause they're
yeah,
like, "Well, I've already dedicated
yeah.
this little area in my basement." They just eat it, replenish it, and whatever, which
I'm
is
not a
not a bad
prepper.
idea.
Yeah, right, I'm not a prepper. If someone was like, "Hey, do you want my bunker full of stuff?" I'd obviously take it because
Yeah.
what the fuck? But I'm just too lazy, and honestly,
Yeah.
I've seen so many zombie movies, like, if I'm gonna go I don't know if I'm gonna fight, I might just go out. Like, let's be real, I don't wanna live in that world,
Well,
come
they end
on.
up not being able to stay in their own home anyways.
Well, that's
They
what
end
I
up on the
mean.
streets in the heat. It's
Yeah, like,
disgusting.
fighting off zombies. What's the point? We're
Yeah.
all gonna be homeless. I don't think I would really get that far ahead.
Yeah.
Just it's really just too much work. That's why I'm not a prepper. But
Yeah. No, I
I don't
agree.
think the doomsday prepper is, resulted in him killing people. I think he was a paranoid man for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. It could have started with the doomsday prepping and then spiraled from
Yeah,
there,
right? And then,
which a lot of it does.
yeah, and then, like, him going to Africa in the Congo to, like, preach about Jesus and about anti-abortion, which the whole point of being anti-abortion is because people who are anti-abortion believe it's murder,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But then he went and murdered 2 people and tried to kill 2 more,
Meanwhile,
and a
he's
dog.
got 5 effing kids at home and should be working to pay for them,
Yeah, instead
to
of
take
hauling
care of
dead
them.
bodies around.
Yeah, or instead of going to Africa to preach anti-abortion, take care of your 5 kids at home. Like,
Yeah.
If you're having financial struggles, maybe now's not the time to go to Africa and do that. So just I mean, it all just sounds like just severe mental illness.
I'm really trying to figure out I wanna know what his wife did because
Well, yeah, because running a 7-Eleven or any of those other jobs, and I'm not trying to downgrade those jobs,
No, but it would be
but
hard to own a $500,000 house on that.
exactly. Yeah. I don't know, maybe they're a house poor.
Okay,
Still, how
well,
do you get a loan?
they did try to start a security company. They were gonna call it Praetorian Guard Security Services, and Jenny was the CEO, and Vance was director of security patrols.
Yeah, but you can just start any old business and give yourself a fancy name and
Yeah, right. If you get an LLC, you don't even need an LLC.
right.
Yeah. I don't know, a couple days a week, he stayed with his friend Carlson in the city. But
Okay.
other than that, he stayed out in his $500,000 house. So he must have been, like, I don't know if he's between jobs trying to get the security company up and running, but it was clearly failing, and he
Yeah.
was in a ton of financial stress and a lot of debt because of it.
Yeah.
But,
All
yeah,
right.
that guy sucks. He's
Yeah.
very senseless killing.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll hear more about it later. And do you have
Yeah.
any idea what you will be doing next week? Or not
Um,
next week, but
next
next time?
month?
Yes, next month.
I don't know I don't know when we'll get this out, but as these come out, if listeners have a request, I think we'll eventually kind of get into some of the big juicy ones like the Kennedys,
Yeah,
but we're definitely gonna have to break that down into parts because that is
absolutely.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
treasure
mean,
trove.
treasure trove. We could do one whole series just about Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll provide a little update on this one next month if
Yeah,
anything
that's a
new
good
comes
idea.
out, and then, yeah, we'll get in.
Get
This
into
is,
it. Yeah.
our first one, so thanks everyone for sticking with us. It'll get
Yeah.
better as we go.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Well, next time I'll lock the cat up. I mean, I don't think he did too bad
No, he's
interviewing.
sleeping, look
Like,
at him. Shout out to Steve for being a good boy.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I feel like we need like a tagline.